Death Note is a manga series that started out in December 2003. The manga tells the story of Light Yagami, the valedictorian in his senior class of high school, who notices a notebook fall out of the sky outside of his school. When he discovers the notebook has the ability to kill people he sees and knows by name, he thinks of it as a prank and nothing more until he discovers a Shinigami, or a Japanese version of the Grim Reaper named Ryuk, who the notebook belongs to him. With this, Light claims himself as Kira, to be a god by cleansing evil, and pretty much everyone is concerned who Kira is, what his intentions are, and if they will be the next victims after random killings. This is where the mysterious L comes in as he carries a badge, but not really. Damn you, Joe Friday! The manga itself has created an anime that lasted 37 episodes, 4 live-action Japanese films, a 2015 Japanese TV drama series, and even a musical. But the one I will be discussing is, oh dear God, the 2017 version of the Americanized version of Death Note, exclusively on Netflix. Ugh, Jesus. Keep in mind, I never saw the trailer to the live-action Death Note movie, as I wanted to see the film due to how great and addicting the original anime was, and I thought it would be interesting to see how it would turn out, as I never saw any of the live-action films of Death Note they had presented in Japan. So I had really no expectations for this film, but after seeing people completely bash on this film on sites like GameSpot, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, and various other critics' websites, it caught my interest a lot more to see if this film would be as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution, which is a really bad translation, by the way. In this review, I will compare this film to the ocean dub of the anime Death Note to the live-action film, as that is the version most people are familiar with. Well, for starters, the film is set in Seattle, Washington, out of all the places for the film to be set, as they show that within 10 seconds after the opening logos and credits are shown. And every main character is completely Americanized in this version of the film, except Watari, where he is Japanese. Now, if you think it is bad where Light's last name is Turner instead of Yagami, Light's father is named the oh-so-generic masculine name of James Turner, where they couldn't even try to attempt to make his name look kind of similar to Shoichiro, L being African American, and the whole entire film is set in Mariner and Seahawk country, then oh boy, we hadn't even seen the marks of the surface we have scratched yet, due to how horrific this film is when it comes to being an adaptation of really anything. I mean, what else are we going to expect? James Turner be like Mr. Turner off the Fairly Odd Parents and assume, oh, L is Dinkelberg. Ooh, Dinkelberg, or in this case, ooh, L. How dare you go ahead and find out my son is Kira? But we'll get to that later. Light is presented as a pretty smart teenager in this film academically, however, unlike the anime where he is essentially a hardworking valedictorian, a genius, and is solitary up until college, where he gets batshit crazier throughout the anime due to self-proclaiming himself as a god. Light in this film also seems to be presented as SJW, a douche, a naive dolt, and a pussy, which makes his character hard to like in this film. Also, apparently, Light falls in love with Misa Amon, Mia Sutton, a girl he barely knows in high school due to just the Death Note, that Mia doesn't know jack shit about, which makes not only the romance between them seem really forced, but is presented as a generic due to it being quote-unquote high school sweetheart romance like we hadn't seen in every other film that takes place during high school. Ugh. So I guess we'll change the details from the anime that Mia isn't a professional model, isn't the second Kira, due to another Shinigami slash Death Note in the human realm, is used as just a pawn for Light's dominance to take out the Kira task force and be a self-proclaimed god to cleanse evil, and is the only one that loves Light, not where they automatically embrace each other in the fucking film. L is presented as being extremely paranoid and emotional, especially the second half of the film, which is completely out of character for him. And unlike the anime where very few people knows who he is in front of a courthouse in Seattle to make a press conference on national television on Kira in front of millions of people watching on TV or streaming it online. If I am not mistaken, wasn't L in a private room to broadcast messages of Kira through his desktop computer with distorted audio and old times L font in a white background through different screens, from the laptop screen Watari presents to television screens? Even though he is covered up, why does L show himself in public? Would the Shinigami ideal, if it existed in this film, nullify what L was thinking with the press conference? Ryuk is actually presented as he is from the anime pretty well. However, there are a couple of problems I have with him in this film. One, they make Ryuk just be obsessed with eating apples without having an explanation or a backstory on why he eats them due to how depressing his realm is. And two, he randomly kills FBI agents instead of Light performing the task by putting the names in the notebook about halfway through the film. The problem I have with these changes in the characters, besides how much the writers seem to barely know them, care, or rush them out, is the fact that it takes a lot of the cerebral and intense moments from the anime out of the film, as the original anime and manga is finding out who Kira is throughout careful and methodical planning, which is why about 80% of the series is like this. Like, for example, why would Light be sharing the notebook to a girl he barely met? Wouldn't that defeat the purpose of him being secure to the Death Note as possible, where nobody, and I mean nobody, would know about it except himself? Speaking of which, the Death Note itself is another problem I have with this film, as Light is the only one that can see the demon, as he possesses the Death Note, and no one else, at least from what the film presents itself. In the anime, everyone who touched the Death Note sees the Shinigami, so why doesn't Mia and L at the very end of the film do not see Ryuk at all? Also, why does the Death Note give commands to a person before being killed? Light kills his first actual victim besides a bully and his mother's killer by making him salute before he gets run over by a SWAT vehicle. And then much later in the film, he makes Watari drive all the way to the east coast of the US to see L's real identity from an orphanage he grew up. The Death Note just kills people, not possesses them like a voodoo doll. Other issues with the film I have is Shoichiro Yagami, or John Turner, in this film's case, at first agreed to help L find out who Kira is. But then by the second half of the movie, John seeks professional vendetta against L for stalking his son and for getting the police involved by stripping and searching the house. Also, at the end of the flick, the police are after L, which again doesn't make too much sense from the source this movie is based on. L, at first, according to the anime, works with the police and then are done with the case without any police involvement going after a third party. The only thing the police do in the anime after relinquishing the case is warning the detectives and the police that they would be fired if they continue with the case further. In fact, Light's father and L actually work hand in hand to try to stop Kira, as Shoichiro is determined to take down Kira and not go after the head of the Kira task force, which also includes Light helping out L as well in the anime series. So yes, L and Light actually do work hand in hand as well to make sure they stop Kira, Even though Light is, of course, Kira and is doing it as sort of an act, even though they are helping hand in hand with each other through the anime. Also, Light kills criminals overseas in Japan right off the bat, because not only is he an effing moron in this film, but defies yet again the logic and lore of the series where he only kills people in a certain region of Japan. Now, I could continue on and on of how bad of an adaptation of this film really is as they try to make a movie that is based on 26 of the 37 episodes that the Death Note anime is based upon under 100 minutes. But I think you all get the gist of how they changed so many things in this film in not a good way. Even though I trashed the film due to the adaptation, there are a couple of bright points about the film I will discuss. William Dafoe does an excellent job as Ryuk, as he is on par with Brian Drummond from the original Ocean dub of Death Note, and Keith Stanfield does a competent L in the film despite the questionable decision by the writers of the film to make him a lot more emotional and paranoid, especially the second half of the film. The acting isn't too bad, but it has at times really over-the-top acting, which makes parts that are not supposed to be hilarious unintentionally funny. And the plot isn't bad if you don't think of this movie as a Death Note adaptation, but more of a generic crime film with forced high school romance. In the end, Death Note isn't the worst film I have seen this year, as I could see 3 films that are worse than this. But it's just a horrific translation from the anime I enjoy quite a bit that has and will age better than the Americanized live action version of the series. In fact, it'll age much, much better. If you want to see Death Note, just either buy the manga or see the anime on Hulu and Netflix, as it is on the streaming service, and only see this film if you want to see only a generic crime drama film, or see how bad they screw up the adaptation of the film. And to think I see it all, Waretown, New Jersey's Village Idiot has decided to come up and make a VidLii page. Congrats, Erik. That's exactly what VidLii needs, another shit poster, especially coming from your 37-year-old autistic man-child ass. That's exactly what VidLii needs right now. Because it isn't like your artwork consists of copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, shit post after shit post after spam, like your pro boards and like your scat fetish fanfics and your really crappy artwork that you make, if you can call it artwork, which is just copy and paste MS Paint bullshit that is done within a matter of like a minute or so. Yeah, this is exactly what VidLii needs, is another goddamn shit poster that spends maybe 5 minutes making these videos, which I guess, assuming your software is maybe Sony Vegas, I don't know, which looks slightly more enhanced than the Windows Movie Maker you used. So yeah, this is exactly what VidLii needs. This autistic fuck on their site. Jesus Christ.